Hey everyone, what is up? Really excited and happy to be here like always. Happy Thursday afternoon. I'm making wings today. Thought it would be fun to explore and make wings with the big game this weekend. I don't know how many of you all will be watching. I'll be eating during it, as usual. We don't really watch much football here. But we do usually tune in, I guess, to the Super Bowl. But everyone loves wings for the Super Bowl. Like everyone seems to eat a ton of wings. All I see this week is wings, wings, wings. So I thought it would be fun to make wings, but because it is also the first week of Black History Month, I thought I would also explain the origin and history of chicken wings, which I think is super interesting. I read about it a few years back, and I've been thinking about this story a lot recently. First of all, I'm just opening some tomato paste. Forgot to do this earlier. But yeah, most people know the origin of chicken wings to be in America, buffalo wings basically, to be from the Anchor Bar in Buffalo. And the Anchor Bar is in fact one of the first places to serve buffalo wings, for sure. But there is a small restaurant owned by a guy named John Young in Buffalo, in the black area, the black neighborhood, and it was called Wings and Things. It was open probably about a year or two before the Anchor Bar. And, it's like the early 60s. It was the first place documented to advertise having wings. And John Young served these wings with a sauce called Mumbo sauce. It's also called Mumbo sauce, or sometimes called Mumble sauce. And if you live in the DC area, you probably already know about this sauce because a lot of restaurants do still serve wings with Mumbo sauce there. Actually, particularly a lot of Chinese restaurants, because they were often served. A lot of the Chinese restaurants opened up in black neighborhoods, and a lot of the locals there said, if you want to be successful, you should serve this Mumbo sauce with your chicken wings. So I'm doing research on this sauce because it's kind of like, it's not really common now, especially the version that John made. A lot of what I was seeing was Mumbo sauce from DC and from Asian restaurants. And a lot of these restaurants, so like there's soy sauce. It is very similar to a sweet and sour in a way. And it's funny, it seems like the sauce started in Chicago. And a lot of traveling jazz musicians would have it in. Yes, thanks for all the great emojis. A lot of the traveling jazz musicians maybe would like have it in Chicago, tell the people in DC about it, and that's where John Young in Buffalo heard about it. And also in this time, in about the 50s, like white people weren't eating chicken wings at all. It was kind of maybe what we think of today as like a chicken foot, maybe. A lot of people would be like squirmish about eating it. And John's restaurant, Wings and Things, was really the first place to start serving it as like a snack, appetizer, or meal. He used to have it, he would serve it with the wing like fully intact. I cut the wings today because, that's more common now. But John liked the sort of sanctity of the full chicken wing. But yeah, the Anchor Bar in Buffalo, basically, they have a few stories of how they so-called invented wings. But if you really start looking into it, each of the family members tells kind of a different story about it and a different year. They said they had the wings around to like make chicken stock with. And they also say maybe they mistakenly got too many wings in an order or maybe the wings were like too big, so they decided maybe they should just use them. But John Young at Wing and Things had already been serving these wings for several years, so I'm not sure if that's a coincidence. So in my opinion, these seem like basically the precursor to the wings that we all have today. The base ingredient on this is tomato paste versus butter, which would be used in buffalo wings. And this isn't in the recipe to fry the tomato paste in some oil, but I really like doing that with recipes. I think it makes the tomato paste taste more like tomatoes and less like a weird acidic paste. I always do this in sauce. And so I thought it would be a good idea. The Mumbo sauce also usually has garlic powder, but since I was already going to fry the tomato paste, I decided I would use fresh garlic instead of garlic powder, since there is a frying stage. Hi Jessica from Mexico, welcome. Glad you could make it. All right, so we have the garlic and the tomato paste going. It already smells really great. And I'm gonna just give this like another minute or two. Thanks, Rich. Yes, I'm excited too. The Mumbo sauce is, what I like is it has, yes, I am frying the wings. You know, I've been baking wings a lot more lately, just because it's easier and they come out like really good, really good, but nothing will beat a fried wing. Yeah, thanks, Vicky. I wanted to add a little history lesson to this one. Because you know what? I think about this story in a lot of different ways, but one of them I think about is in a lot of cities, there are people, there's like food rivalries, right? So in Philly, you have like Pat's and Geno's, even though they were not very good, in my opinion. But a lot of like TV shows and stuff will be like, who invented the cheesesteak? Who has the best cheesesteak, Pat's or Geno's? Or in Chicago, you have like, is it Uno's or Lou Malnati's? Which one's better? And, you know, what's different about those stories from this story is that both of the people were white who made them. So in Buffalo, you probably would have a similar story today. Who did it? John Young at Wings and Things or Anchor Bar? But because the people at the Anchor Bar were white, John Young's restaurant actually was burnt down in a race riot and he had to leave town. So, you know, his family, Anchor Bar has several restaurants across the country now, one even in Times Square. So you think maybe if things were different, then John Young and his family would have all those restaurants as well. Next, I'm going to add vinegar, and it's a lot of vinegar. Buffalo wings usually are pretty acidic, so it makes sense. So I'm going to start, I have cider vinegar here, and I'm going to start with about a half a cup. And now I can turn this up a little bit and start working the paste into the vinegar. And now I'm just going to start adding everything. Have a lot of bottles here on the work surface. Soy sauce. Now my question is, I wonder if soy sauce was in John Young's recipe or not. But because most of the recipes you see online now are based on the Chinese restaurants in Washington, D.C. that make this recipe, they all have soy sauce. So I'm adding a little bit. I think it's going to be a good combo. I have ketchup. All the recipes definitely have ketchup. I'm going to add probably like let's do a quarter cup there. Some of the recipes have a half cup or even a whole cup, but we have all that tomato paste in here. We don't need a ton of ketchup in this. Next, I'm going to add the pineapple juice. have some sugar and honey. And a lot of the recipes have like a lot of sugar, a little honey. I'm kind of swapping the ratios of that a little bit with more honey and less sugar. Rich, it's like the precursor to buffalo sauce. Buffalo sauce is like butter and cayenne hot sauce mainly, with a lot of sugar as well. This has like the hot sauce, the sugar, and the acidity, but it's more of like a tomato base instead of a butter base. I've never made these before, so I'll let you know how it goes. I'm gonna add the hot sauce now. You know, you could just open the hot sauce like a normal person, but I screwed the whole top off because we're adding a lot of hot sauce. All right, what's left? I need a checklist here. None of the recipes I saw had mustard in them, but I'm adding like a tablespoon of mustard because we like mustard in our wings, and like the combo of flavors really goes well, in my opinion. Just a little. This smells very good. Yeah, like you said, it's kind of like a pineapple Asian fusion. A lot of honey, a lot of sugar, and a little bit of... It's like a version of a barbecue sauce, honestly. And this bright red color is really what you're looking for. That is one thing that I found in common with a lot of the recipes I was looking for online. And lastly, I have a ginger squeeze bottle here. If you watch this stream, you know I like to use the ginger squeeze bottle. I'm putting a good amount of ginger in there. And the last thing, and this wasn't in the original recipe, but I'm putting a little bit of allspice in because I think it really just goes well with a lot of these flavors. Rich, ginger kind of dies out when you cook it, really mellows out. So I still want the ginger flavor to be prevalent. This is gonna just simmer for like 20 minutes, so I don't want to fully lose that ginger goodness. I'm gonna get the whisk because this thing isn't really doing that well. I mean, this smells awesome. I'm excited for it. It's definitely very sweet, very sour, a little bit of heat. I mean, you can't beat that combo. And if you think about it, it makes sense that the Chinese restaurants sort of adapted this recipe into their own thing. And it also makes sense that the Anchor Bar kind of took this and put butter and ran with it. It's like, you can't beat that sort of sweet, sour, spicy combo, especially with like a perfectly crispy fried chicken wing. All right, I'm gonna taste this and then move it along to the back burner over there and get going on the wings. Yeah, it's awesome. It does have a good level of heat, and the pineapple is like, the pineapple is really great in here. I think the ginger isn't too overpowering, so we are in a good place with this for sure. And the color is what I had hoped for too. Really interesting with the tomato in here. It works though. Pineapple tomato, huh? have to get rid of all this stuff. So many bottles. I also have to finish my iced coffee so I can have a beer with the wings. Yeah, I think it's different enough from buffalo sauce that you could do both. This definitely is more of like a sweet and sour. So for the wings, I just marinated these a few hours ago. I guess normally I would do buttermilk, but if you watch the stream, I feel like I say every week that we never have any actual dairy on hand. So I did oat milk with a little bit of vinegar, and then I added plenty of salt, smoked paprika. I actually added liquid smoke to this, which is a weird ingredient that I used to never use, but someone sent me some, so I've been putting it in stuff a little bit here and there, and actually kind of like it. It works really well if you don't have a smoker on hand. I'm gonna make sure that sauce is actually simmering back there. All right, so when I make wings, one big question is, are you gonna dredge them in flour or not? Since these are inspired by John Young's original buffalo chicken wing, I am gonna dredge them. Depends what you're looking for. Like, I like that crispy skin, but a light dredging really helps. The traditional recipe probably had, like from the pictures I saw and stuff, it's a little bit of a thicker dredging. But that's okay. I have equal parts flour and cornstarch in this bowl with a little bit of salt and pepper and paprika. What's nice about the dredging too is you don't really need to dry them off. The liquid from the marinade helps the dredging stick to the wings. I want to pick these up so that like there's only a light dredging on them. That we can really sort of pat them in your hands. This needs a few minutes to heat up actually, so that's fine. Here, I'm gonna get a plate so I can just dredge them all. I suppose you could do this with like a colander to get the excess flour off. I'm a very hands-on cook myself. Sauce went from not simmering at all to aggressively boiling. Really just no happy medium around here. We didn't eat lunch so that we could have these have these wings immediately when the live stream ends. It's all about eating strategy. Oh, you can smell it from up there already? Nice. Yeah, it's does smell pretty good. I think this sauce is definitely like the exact thing that we normally like on wings. You know, we usually make them actually with Asian flavors. Either that or like a golden barbecue. The Mumbo sauce really did originate from a barbecue sauce. And if you look into it, like I was saying, it is also from Chicago. So there's like a barbecue restaurant in the suburbs of Chicago. And the family from that restaurant is actually bottling the sauce as well. So you can find it in some stores, their version of it. I think the DC version is probably more Asian inspired, and that's what this is mostly based off, because that was the only references that I could really find. Burnt your duck breast, Rich. Your classic Thanksgiving duck. Rich, buy a thermometer. It's they're not expensive and they're extremely helpful in the kitchen. Strong recommend. A Tefim recommendation. I think Georgina will agree with you on that, Rich. I think a Thanksgiving turkey is only good when it's like perfectly cooked, which it usually is not. Pineapple in that sauce is really popping. We're at like just about 300, so only another minute till this is ready. Everyone left because we were trashing turkey too much. You can't trash a popular favorite. The stories of John Young basically said he had that Mumbo sauce boiling on the stove, and he called it hot lava. And it was just constantly boiling for him to just scoop out on every wing batch that came up. And he, like I was saying, he had the wings in like whole wings, even with the tip attached. And he sold them at the time, which I think was 1964, for $1. So, Rich, what were those wings in college? 10 cents each? I guess things haven't changed much. John Brewers. Before we turned 21, they sat us in like this awkward area for the 10-cent wings because we weren't since we weren't drinking, they weren't making any money off us. Just cracking the beer while I'm waiting here. And this is a local brewery to Columbus. Yes, always ASMR time at one point on this stream. So who's planning, what are you guys planning to cook if you are watching the Super Bowl? Rich, I know you have something planned. Right? I didn't even realize until earlier this week. And then I was like, perfect, I have all these appetizers lined up. Yes, exactly. Ah, nice, Vicky. That's our favorite Impossible meat. I don't understand how it tastes exactly like regular meat. They're coming along nicely. I think it's good to have like a little bit of a slower fry on these because chicken wings, in my opinion, have a lot of connective tissue to break down. And a lot of times when you get them at a restaurant, they're fried too quickly. And that's when you take a bite and it's like stringy and kind of gross. getting all my bowls and plates together. I can feel with the tongs that these are super, super crispy. Also, if you fry them too hot, they get so dark, which isn't always a great look when you're eating them. My little tabletop burner is really working as hard as it possibly can right now. There we go. I'm going to pop these out to the rack right here, and then I'm going to douse them in sauce. That's me doing this to the microphone so you can hear how crispy they are. What is that, Rich? What puts it onto a rack, you're saying? Thank you. They do look very good. I'm excited to eat them. I'd like to toss the wings in the sauce like this. The pictures you'll see online a lot of times from the Chinese restaurants will just kind of like drizzle the sauce on top a little bit. But I mean, you can see based on this that John Young's wings were definitely very much like the buffalo wings that we are familiar with today. How long till these cool down and I can eat one? Is the real question. They're like burning hot right now. That sauce, though, really has such a great tanginess to it. Sweet, sour, spicy. Which type of wing do you guys like better, the flats or the drumettes? These are important questions that I like to ask. I'm gonna burn my mouth off. Flat. Gina, I'm glad you answered because I've been asking you which ones you like better for years. And you're always like, I don't care, whichever one you don't want. So these are very good. Really good. Unique sauce. Very sweet, very tangy. Highly recommend making these and spreading the word about John Young, the predecessor and creator and popularizer of the buffalo wings that we all love to eat today. That is going to be the stream for today. So thank you for watching. And I will see you all